Well, good morning. I hope you're having a great Friday. I hope you've had a great week so far. It's Friday. It's 9:21 a.m. local time here in Madison, Wisconsin, Central Daylight Time. So how the hell did I end up in Madison? Let's talk about let's say it's August 27th. Yeah, Friday, August 27th, 9:21 a.m. Central Time, Madison, Wisconsin. So, let's talk about where I was at, where I'm at, and where I'm going to be. Let's start out with where I was at. So I left the house a few weeks ago to go out over the road and make some money. And I booked a load to leave the house on to go. I live in Oklahoma City, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know. I booked a load from Dallas to Portland. So I drove from Oklahoma City down to Dallas to pick up a load that was originally listed at 7,500, but I negotiated the rate up to 8,000, and it was supposed to be a preloaded trailer, and I got down to Dallas and the trailer wasn't there, and I had to wait for the following day for the broker to respond to my emails and texts and voicemails and shit like that. And then she reached out to the customer, and the customer said that they forgot to process the paperwork, so the trailer never got loaded, so the load ended up being canceled. And they put in a $650 truck ordered not used for me. I haven't gotten that yet. They said that Landstar said that they don't pay me that until the customer pays them, and they told me that they give the customer 30 days to pay. If the customer hasn't paid within 30 days, then they take them to collections. And I don't see a penny until Landstar gets the money. So, um, that was Saturday night, Sunday morning. I didn't find another load until Wednesday. And Wednesday, I picked up a load in Houston going to Seattle, and that was a $10,000 load. Now, the amounts I'm giving you are the full amount that the load pays. I only get roughly 65% of that. So, the $10,000 load that I booked going from Houston to Seattle was a Hazmat load. That was one of the reasons it was paying so well. I forgot how much it was paying per mile. What I made on the load was right at $3 a mile. Um, what I made on that load was $6,711.25, if I remember correctly. Total gross to the truck. That's not like after expenses. That's how much I made total gross to the truck, and it was a 2,300 mile load. So I deadheaded from Oklahoma City down to Dallas. That load canceled. So then I deadheaded from Dallas down to Houston and picked up another load. So I ended up going all the way down to Houston to pick up a load. And I took that load to Seattle. It was my first hazmat load I've hauled since I've gotten my license. This time, I've had my license twice. For anybody who doesn't know, I drove for about 3 or 4 years, about 15 years ago. Quit driving, eventually surrendered my license, and then shortly after surrendering my license, I was like, you know what, I want to get back into trucking again. So I went through the whole process of getting my license again and got a license for the second time in February of 2020. So this was the first hazmat load that I've hauled since I got my license the second time. Very stressful, but I made it to Seattle without any issues. And then after I delivered that load in Seattle, it took me a couple of days to find another load because I'm really picky about the loads that I haul, and I tend to I don't like to run very hard, so I'll take a couple of days off in between loads. And I really like loads that have extra time on them. So I take a lot of time off out on the road. So I took a couple of days looking for a load, and then I got a load alert for a really amazing load, and I was like, this is too good to be true. And I called and booked the load. It was a load going from Seattle to Dubuque, Iowa, 1,700 miles, paying almost $10,000, like 9,700 bucks or something like that. What I ended up making on the load was, if I remember correctly, $6,560, somewhere in that area, total gross to the truck on that load for 1,700 miles. And it ended up only being 9,000 pounds. It was less than a quarter of the trailer had stuff in it. There was hardly anything in the trailer. And drove it over to Dubuque and Delivered it to, it was John Deere. It was going to a John Deere plant in Dubuque. Delivered it there Monday morning. They ended up taking the load really early. I got to the receiver at like 3:45 a.m. and I was just going to park and wait for my appointment at 10 a.m. And I asked a yard dog that was driving by. I was really surprised to see a yard dog at that time. I didn't think there'd be anybody there. But I saw a yard dog, and I just walked over to him, and I was like, hey, can you tell me if I'm in the right place? This is the address, the delivery address I have. And I showed it to him. And he said, that's a dummy address. It doesn't really tell us where you deliver. If you go in that door right there and you show it to them, they should be able to tell you where you need to go. And I was like, you guys are open right now? And he was like, yeah. Like, wow. He was like, yeah, we could unload you right now if you're in the right place. I was like, oh my God, awesome. So I went in there, and the guy I dealt with was kind of a jackass. He was very defensive, and I don't really know how to describe him other than to say he was a jackass, and he was really defensive. And he just kept trying to find excuses to not help me, and it kind of pissed me off. And he eventually, I eventually was like, so you really want me, like, it would be best if I went over to this other, receiving place. So basically they have like at least two, maybe more places that you can deliver to the John Deere plant. And he was basically trying to get out of work and trying to push me into going over to the other place. So, and he made me jump through a whole bunch of hoops, leading me on, kind of suggesting that he could unload it right there. And every time I would jump through a hoop, he would create a new hoop. And finally, I just got sick and fucking tired of it. Like, he was having me crawl into the trailer to find packing slips and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, these bills, Jeff, don't mean anything to me. I need the packing slips with the manifest to be able to tell, and, shit like that. He was just a jackass. So I was just like, I was as nice as I could be to him. If it wasn't work related and somebody was talking to me like that, I don't deal with that shit. I would have snapped. But whenever it's work related and it's business and I'm getting paid a lot of money to deal with dumbasses, then I'm a lot nicer than I normally am. But, I was just really nice to him, and I was like, all right, so I'll just go over to the south gate then. They're open right now. And he's like, yeah, they just opened at 4 a.m. So, yeah, they're open right now. They'll get you right in, and you won't have any problems down there. I was like, all right, cool. So that's what I did. I drove down there, and they got the south gate. I didn't have any issues with those people. They were really nice. They got me in and out. And then I went over to a mom and pop truck stop. It wasn't even really a truck stop. It was a convenience store with quite a bit of truck parking for a convenience store. They probably had, like 10 to 15 parking spots on three sides of the building. So 30 to 45 truck parking spots. That's a lot of spots for a convenience store. Now they were called a truck stop. Like it had the name truck stop in the like convenience store name. But all they really had that was truck related was, they had truck parking. They did have a diesel fuel island. They had like one diesel pump. But all they had that was truck related was parking. They didn't have any food there. They didn't have any showers or anything like that. So it was just basically truck parking is all it was. So, and I appreciate any truck parking, that we can have out here because there's a shortage of it. But I sat there Monday after I delivered the load, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I just couldn't find a really good load that I wanted to haul. And I was also debating on whether to go home or to keep running. I really wanted to grab another load going back to Seattle or Portland. I wanted to stay running up across the 90-94. And I wanted to do a couple more big paying loads before I went home. But there's some stuff that I need to take care of at home that I need to get done by the end of the month. And I was like, you know what? I don't have enough time to go all the way over to Seattle and then back. And then it's going to be like 2.5 weeks before I get home if I do all that. So I was like, I need to just go ahead and find a load to the house. And so I started looking for a load to the house. And I finally found one like Wednesday, but it didn't pick up until today, Friday. And I was like, you know what? I'll keep looking for other loads. And that load will probably still be there Friday because it's not a great load. It's a decent load, not a great load. And I went ahead and looked for a load without booking that one. And there just wasn't like any, like, what I really set around and wait for are amazing loads. I typically will set around and wait for 2 or 3 or 4 days for an amazing load. I almost always haul like extremely above average loads. You know, like the Seattle market. Most of the loads coming out of Seattle were paying like 250 a mile. The really good loads were paying $3 a mile. And I got a load that was paying, I forgot, like, just a second here. And how much was that damn thing paying? It was like $9,700, and it was 1,700 miles. It was, okay, I remember now. That's 570 a mile. It wasn't 570. I remember it was $5.30 a mile. $5.30 a mile going 1,700 miles. The longer, the more miles in a load, the less rate per mile that you can get on the load, and it still be a good load. So to get $5.30 a mile on a load that's 1,700 miles, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. That's like a really amazing load for any market. That even for the Southern California market, that would have been a really good load. To get that coming out of Seattle was crazy. So I typically sit around and wait for those kind of loads because you can get those kind of loads in almost every market. It's just how patient you are and how lucky you are. And so the load that I took from Houston to Seattle was paying like 435 a mile or something like that, and that was way above market average for the Houston area. And then the load I took from Seattle to Dubuque was paying like 530 a mile. That is way above market average. And there's been tons of average loads posted in, you know, the Dubuque, Wisconsin, Illinois area, you know, Iowa, Wisconsin. Like Dubuque is kind of like in the corner, the northeast corner of Iowa, right next to the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. I think it's also next to the border of Minnesota. There's all the states are probably within 100 miles of each other, or 50 miles of each other, right there near Dubuque. But you're next to a lot of hot freight areas. So I was sitting around waiting for a really good load. And I started getting, you know, more and more desperate. And I started actually trying to book loads that were mediocre loads. And they fell through. Luckily they fell through, and I did not book them. There was a load I tried to book that was paying, shit, I forgot what it was paying now. Close to $4 a mile. That's like a normal load. Like, that's a good load. Like, I would say like a really normal load for this area, the Dubuque, Madison, Wisconsin area. A normal load is somewhere around like 340 a mile. That's like just really standard normal load. If somebody's paying less than 340 a mile, then it's like a below average load. If they're paying 340 a mile, it's very average. If they're paying, you know, more than 340 a mile, then it's an above average load. But even at $4 a mile, it's not like an amazing load. It's just like, it's above average load. It's a pretty good load. I don't like hauling loads that are average in a market. I do not haul like average freight. So I almost booked a load that was paying like $4 a mile, but the load had already been covered. And then there was a second load I almost booked that was like, um, what was that one paying? I think that was another $4 a mile load. And that one was also already booked. So people are just booking this, above average freight like crazy. It's just disappearing off the board like crazy. And I messaged a broker on a load that was paying below market. It was going 1,000 miles, and it was paying $3,200. So it was paying like $320 something a mile, close to $330 a mile. And I said I'll take that load. I sent him an email and said I'll take that load if you can get it for 4,000 and give me a good fuel surcharge rate on it. And he replied back and said, not even close. Some of these brokers are really rude. It's not like talking to a customer service rep at your cable company or something like that. These a lot of these brokers will say whatever in the hell they want. Some of them are very professional and very nice. Some of them are like super nice. They're like talking with your grandma or something like that. But some of them are just really, really rude. They're really blunt. And they're arrogant. Most of them are really, even the really nice ones are really, really, really arrogant. Like they think they know everything. They think they know all about the freight markets. And a lot of them are pushing cheap freight. And you ask them to raise the rates on it, and they're like, no, I can't get any more on this load. And I'm like, there's another load that's nearly identical to it that is $1,200 more. it's just 100 miles further, and you're telling me you can't get another $1,000 out of this. It's still going to be cheaper than that other load. They're like, yeah, I can't. Fucking idiot! Like you're bad at your job, man. You're really bad at your job. As a broker, that's your job is to like negotiate rates that you can move loads at. And a lot of these brokers are really bad at their jobs. But anyway, a lot of that crap fell through. A bunch of like above average loads and one like below average load that I tried to renegotiate the rate on. They all fell through. And then I ended up booking a load for $6.26 a mile. A load that's going around 900 miles. No, it's like 788 miles, 800 miles, and it's paying $4,800. It's going from near Green Bay, Wisconsin. Damn it, I forgot the name of the town. Let me just show it to you. Let me flip it over here to the browser. This is the load right here. 767 miles, $4,800, paying $6.26 a mile. Menasha, Wisconsin to Wichita, Kansas. Menasha is pretty close to Green Bay. It's going to be 100 deadhead miles from where I'm at right here in Madison. But that's the load I ended up booking. So that'll be the third load since I've been out on the road since I left the house. It doesn't pick up until Monday, but I'm okay with that. What I'm going to make on that load is somewhere in the area. I could tell you exactly. They sent me the rate confirmation, and the load actually pays more than $4,800. It's $4,850 on my rate confirmation. So, and it's what I'm getting for fuel surcharge is like $342. Let me pause this, and I'll give you the exact amount that I'm going to make on the load. But I got to look at the freight bill. All right, the exact amount that I'm going to make on this load is $3,272.45. Well, $44.85, which should round up to 45 cents. And there's just $4 a mile loads popping up on my alerts like crazy. $4 to $4.60 a mile loads are just popping like crazy right now on my alerts. So, yeah, that's why I ended up booking. And, fuck you, Jake. Jackass is smartass response. Not even close. Like, well, good luck moving your cheap ass $3.30 or $3.27 a mile load. You cheap bastard. You bad at negotiating rates. Um, but yeah, that's the load that I booked. So how did I end up in Madison? I was sitting there at that mom and pop truck stop that doesn't have showers or anything. Luckily, I took a shower Monday morning right before I went and delivered the load. But now it's Friday and I hadn't had a shower and I was starting to get, kind of stank up in here. So I got to thinking, you know what? I haven't booked the load from Madison down to it was Madison, Wisconsin to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was like 30. I want to say $3,300 was what the load was paying. It wasn't a great load, but it wasn't a terrible load either. I want to say it was paying around $4 a mile, 388, 388, 395, 296 a mile or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And I went ahead and drove up here without having booked the load yet. I called a couple brokers. They said that they would have to, check with the broker that has the load whenever they wake up in the morning. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive to Madison anyway because I had two options. There wasn't any freight coming out of Dubuque. If there was, it was paying too cheap to show up on my board. Um, but I could have gone south to Davenport, Iowa, where like the Iowa 80 truck stop is at, and there's a ton of truck stops down there. And there is a little bit of freight coming out of there, but not a lot. Most of the freight, especially the decent paying freight, is up to the north in Wisconsin, or to the west, or not the west, but the east, over toward Chicago. And then toward the west, it was Cedar Rapids. And the only decent loads I saw coming out of Cedar Rapids were these Masonite loads. That was doors and windows. And oh my God, Jeremy Dean, stop fucking emailing me and calling me and texting me about your damn Masonite account. Jesus. Um, I just kept getting tons and tons of alerts on those shitty Masonite loads out of Cedar Rapids. Let me go over here. Okay, so these are loads going to Oklahoma City. So this is not showing you. Okay, I'm looking at the load board. I was going to show you the all the Cedar Rapids loads, but um, I would have to do a different load search, and I don't really want to bother with doing that. Um, there were a bunch of Cedar Rapids loads. Now they're decent paying loads, but they're like tons of stops, anywhere from 2 extra stops to 6 or 7 extra stops, and it's driver assist. I don't remember if you needed to have your own straps and stuff for them. I think it required extra strapping and stuff. I can't remember though, but I remember it was driver assist. It was a lot of extra stops, and it wasn't paying very well. It was it was some cheap shit. And I got 3 emails from Jeremy Dean trying to get me to take those damn Masonite loads. And he called me a couple of times. He left voicemails. I think he texted me a couple of times. Yeah, I, no, no. You need to get much better rates on that shit. I'm not unloading trailers on the cheap. Like, my lumper fees are way too expensive for anybody. Like $10,000 for a driver assist. I'm not unloading trailers. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so those were my options on directions I could go, and I was like, you know what? Even if I don't get that load from Madison to Tulsa, that's the direction I need to like go into anyway. Oh man, $9 a mile load. Let's take a look at this. Picks up tomorrow. Palatine, Illinois, basically Chicago to VLYCY, Valley City. I don't know what that stands for. North Dakota. Um, it's not a big mileage load. Oh, that agency WIE, they're the ones that I hauled that amazing load from Seattle to Dubuque. Oh my goodness, they get really awesome rates on loads. This one's $8.63 a mile to go 666 miles. 5,750 bucks. That's a pretty damn good load. That is a pretty damn good load. That WIE agency, I like them. They negotiate some really damn good rates. They mainly work in like just in time loads. They negotiate really good rates on loads that customers are desperate to move. So they negotiate really high rates so that they can basically guarantee somebody's going to move that load. Because a lot of these jackasses will negotiate really cheap rates and the load doesn't move, and they'll just keep canceling the load and rescheduling it and renegotiating cheap ass rates, and nobody will haul it at that rate, and it just keeps happening over and over and over again. Um, it's getting tons of alerts. There's a lot of good paying freight up here. So I decided to go ahead and drive up to Madison because I needed a shower really bad, and the freight was. I was going to probably be heading in this direction anyway to get a load. I ended up not getting those loads from Madison down to Tulsa, but I ended up getting an even better load. The one I already showed you, the load. It's basically Green Bay. It's not quite Green Bay. Neosha, Wisconsin. It's closer to there. I think, if I remember correctly. But Menasha, Wisconsin, is like 100 miles northeast of where I'm at in Madison. It's basically from Madison, Wisconsin, drive toward Green Bay, and you go almost all the way to Green Bay, and that's where I'm picking the load up at. And I pick it up at 6 a.m. Monday morning, and I can deliver it as soon as I can make it to Wichita, Kansas. The facility is 24/7, and I can deliver it as soon as I can get there. So the broker told me that there is overnight parking at the the shipper. So what I plan on doing, and I looked at the satellite view, and there are places a truck can park, but it's not like a, yeah, it is a warehouse, but it's kind of like ghetto part of town, and it's not like gated in any way. It's like a dirt. It's not concrete or anything. So yeah, there are places where I can park there. So what I'll probably do is I'll drive up there Sunday afternoon early enough that I can be certain that I can do a full 10 by the time they get me loaded Monday morning. That way, after they get me loaded Monday, I can drive my full 10 Monday, or full, 11, all my driving hours. I don't even have to do all my driving hours because no matter what I do, it's a 2 drive shift. I'm going to have to do it in 2 drive shifts. But I also want to have enough time on my second drive shift that after I deliver the load, I can go ahead and drive to Oklahoma City without having to take a 10-hour break. So I need to do a minimum, just off the top of my head, I need to do a minimum of, let's see, about 3 hours to Oklahoma City. It's 800 miles, so I would feel very comfortable if I drove a minimum of, let's see, 3 hours. No, I need more than that. Okay, so it's like 166 miles. We'll go with 180 miles to Oklahoma City. We'll go with 180. So I would need less than 500 miles on needed on my second drive shift, and that would be cutting it really close. So this would be absolute minimum. So out of the 800 miles, I would need to do a minimum of 300 miles in my first drive shift. And that would be cutting it really, really close on whether or not I would be able to make it to Oklahoma City after I delivered the load. I would be cutting it real close. If I hit heavy traffic or an accident, I wouldn't make it. So I would probably feel a lot more comfortable doing like 400 miles my first drive shift. So Monday, after I get loaded, I'm going to try to do a minimum of 400 miles in my first drive shift. And maybe more than that. I might end up doing, more than that. But a minimum of 400 miles in my first drive shift. And then take a 10. And then in my second drive shift, I'll deliver the load. And then I should have enough time to make it all the way to Oklahoma City on my clock after I deliver the load. And that should have me back in Oklahoma City. Let's see, if they start loading me at 6 a.m. right when they open, they have me loaded by 9 a.m. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Let's say I shut down at 9 p.m. I would probably try to shut down closer to 7 p.m. so I wouldn't have to deal with parking. It might be difficult. It's going to be a lot more difficult to find a parking spot at 9 p.m. than 7 p.m. But let's say I shut down at 7 p.m. So 9 to 7, that'd be 7 plus 3 be 10 hours minus an hour for let's say it was actually 9 hours of drive time, 10 hours of real time. That'd be 9 at a 65 mile per hour average. We'll go with 62. 9 times 62. That would be 558 miles. That would leave 242 miles to my destination. So that would be roughly 4 hours. So I get there at 7 p.m., take a 10, that's 5 a.m. So if I leave at 5 a.m., I should arrive to my destination at around 9 a.m., which is absolutely perfect because I have to deliver from like 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. or something like that. No, wait a second. This is the one that I'm getting confused with another load. Forget that. I can deliver anytime 24/7. But I get there around 9 a.m. and let's say they take 2 or 3 hours to unload me. I get out of there by noon. And then it's a 3-hour drive home. I would get home at around 3 p.m. on Tuesday. Yeah. Be home around 3 p.m. Tuesday. I will get into Oklahoma City and, before rush hour. And, traffic starts picking up shortly after 4 o'clock. So if I get there at 3 p.m., that'll give me, plenty of time, 30, 45 minutes to get all of my dirty clothes and food and everything out of here in my car and then make it over to my house before traffic picks up. That'll be nice. So that's the current plan. That's what's going on. And I ended up getting like 3 unicorn loads in a row. The only loads that I've done since I've left the house have basically been unicorn loads, like really, really above market average loads, like way above market average loads. The first load was, I forget how much that very first load was, like $4.35 a mile or something like that. And it was going 2,300 miles, paying like 10 grand from Houston. Houston loads don't pay that great. So that was a really amazing load. And then load number 2 is probably the best load I've ever hauled, like a $5.30 a mile load going 1,700 miles. And now I've got a $6.62 a mile load uh, going 800 miles. So every load I've hauled since I've left the house has been way above market average. So running really efficient, but taking a lot of time off, which I don't mind. The truck is almost as comfortable as my house. What do I do at my house? I sit around and I watch Netflix and I play video games. What do I do in the truck when I'm sitting around here taking like a 3-day weekend, which I'm about to do? I watch Netflix and play video games. So it's me taking time off in the truck is almost no different than taking time off at the house. Yeah, at the house I have a restroom and I have Uber Eats and I have my car. I can go and, anywhere I want. I can do anything I want. But I really don't like leaving my house. So I really don't go anywhere. And there's like a Popeyes restaurant right here at the TA. So like it's just as easy for me to go pick up Popeyes right here at the TA as it is for me to do Uber Eats at my house. And, it's not a big deal to take a shower at a truck stop. It just started raining. People running across the parking lot. I need to get my camera out so I can film all these fat truckers running across the parking lot. You know what I'm surprised by is that there's like a stereotype of fat truckers, and I meet that stereotype like I'm a fat trucker. But the vast majority of truck drivers that I see are not fat. I think they're making so little they're starving to death. I'm eating good out here. I make a lot of money and I eat really well out here. So I eat a little bit too well. Man, my phone is just getting spammed with all these good loads. Friday they start getting desperate. Prices on loads start going up on Friday. Mondays are not very good days to book loads. Fridays are really good days to book loads. I've booked, although Wednesdays and Fridays are my 2 days that I book the best loads. Wednesdays and Fridays seem to be the 2 biggest days for booking loads for me. I book really, really good loads on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are usually the days when I book really good freight. So, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, get it uploaded, and I'm just gonna chill and hang out here at the TA in Madison, Wisconsin. I don't even know if this is off the 90 or the 94. I think this is off the 94. I think I'm off Interstate 94. But I'm going to hang out here until Sunday afternoon. It's Friday morning right now, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. sharp right now. And I'm going to hang out here until Sunday afternoon, and I'm going to go ahead and drive 100 miles over to the shipper, take a 10. That way, whenever they get me loaded in the morning, I can just take off and drive a full drive shift and get this load delivered as soon as possible and get home as soon as possible and take care of some shit that I got to take care of at the house. I would really have preferred to pick up a load today and drive it through the weekend and deliver it Monday and then, be home on Monday, but the loads I was looking at doing that on were paying almost $2,000 less, roughly $2,000 less than this load. So to have another, $1,300 or so to go to the house on, let's figure this up real quick. So what am I making on this load? Let's look at the history. On this load, I'm making $32.72.45. So $32.72.45 plus $67.11.25 plus $65.60, I think was what the other one paid me. So that is $16,543.70. I thought that I was going to demolish my old record of the most I made gross to the truck, um, you know, out on the road in one little, I don't know. I generally go out on the road for anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. And the most I've ever made in one of my little trips out on the road uh, was the last time that I was out on the road with USA Truck, and I think I made right at somewhere between $15,000 and $18,000, somewhere in that area, gross to the truck. And this this one I'm going to make roughly $16,543. I did not get the exact numbers to figure that out, but it's around $16,500 gross to the truck is what I'm making. And how long will I be out on the road? Let me check real quick. When did I leave the house? Let me pause this and check and see when I left the house. All right, August 8th was the Sunday that I was out there trying to find that trailer for my very first load that canceled. So I left the house really late Saturday evening. So we'll say I left the house Saturday the 7th. So that's 1 week, 2 weeks. Tomorrow will be 3 weeks. And if I'm home on Tuesday, which I should be home on Tuesday, that'll be 3 weeks and 1, 2, 3 days. 3 weeks and 3 days, and made about $16,500 gross to the truck. And I took a lot of time off. In all of that time, a lot of time off. Like I'm about to do a 3-day weekend right now, and I just took off almost all day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I just took 7 days off in between loads. In between my last load and the next load that I'm going to pick up, I just took a week off. And I took off like, so when I left the house Saturday, I didn't pick up my next load until Wednesday because that first load I was going to pick up canceled. So I wasn't actually on a load Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. And then after I delivered that load, I delivered it Monday morning, and I didn't pick up the next load until Wednesday afternoon, or Wednesday, it was Wednesday around noon. So I had Tuesday off, and then like half the day Monday and half the day Wednesday. And then when I delivered that load to Seattle, I got there like a day or two early. So I had like 2 days extra on that load. On the Dubuque load, you know, the load that I took over from Seattle to Dubuque, I had like an extra couple of days on that load. I got to the Flying J in Waterloo, I want to say Friday night, Saturday morning, and I stayed there until Monday morning. So, like, I took, in that 3 weeks and 3 days that I'm going to be out on the road, I took a lot of time off. Easily half the time that I've been out here away from the house has been time off. It has been a crazy amount of time off. So, yeah, it's I could have made a lot more money if I didn't take so much time off. But $16,500 for a little over 3 weeks. That's an average of about $5,000 a week. And really, this is like a week and a half of work. Because I took so much time off. It's raining pretty good out there. But yeah, those are the numbers. Oh, and I also forgot 600. Let's add in plus 650 for the truck ordered, not used. So that brings it up to $17,200. $17,200 gross to the truck. How much did I spend in fuel? If I had to just guess off the top of my head, I would say so far I've spent about $1,200 to $1,500 in fuel, and I'm probably going to end up doing another $500 in fuel. So, $1,700 to $2,000 in fuel if I had to guess total on this trip. So we'll go with $2,000. So that means that after my fuel cost, I'm pocketing $15,000, and then my fixed costs per week are a couple $100 a week, like $200 a week. I can't remember what exactly they are, but let's go with 4 weeks. That's $800. So that gets us down from 15.2. That brings us down to $14,400. So out of that $17,200, what I'm going to end up making after expenses is somewhere around $14,000. That's what I'll pocket after expenses. And that's the difference between me, who has very little in expenses, like no truck payment and stuff like that, versus somebody that, is under a ridiculous lease or something crazy. The sheriff just drove by. You never catch me, copper. He just kept on driving. I was going to give him the finger or something. But expenses is what makes a huge difference out here as an owner-operator in like your quality of life and how much money you actually make. It's all about your revenue and your expenses, and then you come up with your income. Revenue minus expenses equals income. And if your revenue sucks, or your expenses are high, or both, then it's really hard to make much of a living out here as an owner-operator. You'll be lucky to make company driver money. And I can quite easily make, $14,000, $15,000 a month after expenses, and still take a lot of time off. So it's all about managing your revenue and your expenses. Don't work on the cheap, and don't get your expenses up too high. Let's say that I keep badgering on Prime Incorporated because they just have a really good reputation for what reason I don't know. They have cheap freight, and their expenses are really, really high. They're not a terrible place to work for. I mean, they're decent. They're a decent place to lease onto, but it's not easy over there. It's not easy to be successful over there, in my opinion. Most of the people over there are making like decent company driver money is what they're doing. They're making like, around $2,000 a week, which is like solid company driver money. I was making close to that as, well, I wouldn't say close to that. I was averaging around $1,250 a week with USA Truck as a company driver, as basically a brand new inexperienced driver. So for somebody to be making $1,500, $2,000 a week as an owner operator, that really fucking sucks. And if I had the expenses of Prime Incorporated, where they have like $1,200 a week in fixed costs, a lot of that is truck payment. I don't have a truck payment, but let's say that I had $1,200 a week in the fixed costs over the 4-week period. That'd be an extra $5,000 in expenses. Well, minus the $800 of my normal expenses, so it'd be an extra $4,200. So instead of bringing home 14,400. It would be 14,400 minus 4,200. So if a prime driver that had like $1,200 a week fixed costs were able to make the kind of money that I could make over at Landstar, even with their crazy fixed costs, they would have still pocketed roughly $10,200 doing the exact same thing that I just did at Landstar if their loads paid as well as what Landstar pays, but they don't. Their loads pay shit. They're hauling cheap freight over there all the time. Prime is a much better place to be than the places that pay flat rate. Prime's much better than that. USA Truck is up there, and USA Truck is really competitive with Prime. In the type of money that you can make, you might be able to make more money at USA Truck than you can at Prime. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure exactly how bad the rates are at Prime. But I think you could probably make more money at USA Truck. But I haven't deep dived into that. It stopped raining. I'm getting a lot of like static over the damn speakers. I should have turned that down a long time ago. It's driving me crazy. I'm probably gonna have to change the channel of my FM transmitter. I don't know why I started getting tons of static all of a sudden. It is really dark outside, lots of clouds, which is nice because it's staying nice and cool inside the truck. But anyway, I didn't mean to get off onto a tangent about like how much money you can make at the various places, but I don't know. It just, there's so many people in this industry that don't even know like what good rates are and what your earning potential is. A lot of these people are just working on really bad lease contracts, and they just don't know any better. And I think that's how you get these drivers that work for like 30 years at a shitty company like Swift. They just don't know any better. They don't know how good it can be somewhere else. But I don't know. To each their own. As long as they're happy, then I don't know. That's not. I don't. I'm not really comfortable with that. As long as they're happy, no. It's somebody's taking advantage of them. That kind of pisses me off that these people are getting taken advantage of. And I mean, you can make the argument that, well, you know what? It's their fault. They're stupid. They're the ones that are, if they're dumb enough to get taken advantage of, then so be it. I don't know about that. It just, these companies that take advantage of people, paying them really shitty rates, with as good paying as the freight is right now and how it's been for like a year, yeah, there have been a couple of ups and downs over the last year, but in general, ever since around June of last year, the freight market has been pretty crazy. And these companies are just, especially these flat rate companies that are paying their drivers like $1 a mile plus fuel surcharge. Oh my God, that is such a ripoff. Oh my goodness, those it's just some greedy shit. Like, that is crazy how much they're screwing those drivers over on those flat rate contracts. That is just insane. Anyway, I'm starting to like get off over into like completely different topics. So let's wrap this up. 53 minutes, 54 minutes. I need to start, bringing this in, wrapping it up, and let's do nuisance last search on the load board real quick. Oh my God, it logged me out. I hadn't refreshed the page in so long, it logged me out. Another $4+ a mile load. And that jackass would not negotiate with me on his cheap ass $3.20 something a mile load. I tried to get him up to $4 a mile. I mean, there's tons of loads over $4 a mile. I was just trying to get that guy up to $4 a mile. And like, that's not even like a great load. That's just like, I'm trying to get you up to where it's a good load. It's not dog shit. And he was like, not even close. That's what he replied to me with. I already told you about that, I think. So fuck you, Jake. I'm not gonna haul any loads for your dumb ass. Let's see here. Pre-trip advance. I don't need to be doing no pre-trip advance. I've got like I haven't transferred any money out of my Data account since I went out on this trip. So I've got like all the money from these loads. I got like $15,000 or something in my Data account from all the loads that I've done since I've been out on the road. I need to get that transferred over into my business checking account. I try to always keep at least $2,000 in my Data account with Landstar because our fuel card is prepaid. And the only way that I know of to get money on your fuel card, you cannot like transfer money onto your fuel card. The only way to get money on your fuel card is to do a pre-trip advance on a load or to get a normal settlement. So I've only ever done one pre-trip advance, and that was on my very first load, so that I could, use Landstar's fuel card to get their good discounts. And ever since then, I've just always left a couple of grand on the in the account. I never completely move all the money out of the account because I don't like doing the pre-trip advances. It's just extra accounting work that I have to do on my bookkeeping. I don't want to do. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. I'm not hurting for money or anything like that. Oh my goodness, they're jacking the rates up. That one's almost $5 a mile, $4.66 a mile. Joliet, Illinois, basically Chicago to Amarillo, $4.66 a mile. What's the total that thing's paying? $4,700. 13,000 pounds, but it's hazmat. Huh. All right, so let's wrap this shit up. Let me think for a second. Is there anything else I want to say? I don't think there's anything else I want to say. I'm going to finish catching up with Walking Dead. Watch that this weekend and watch the new season and everything. I think, did I already mention it? I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but like the shows that I watch, whenever they come out with a new, I don't watch episode by episode. I watch season by season. So whenever they come out with a new season, I'll start over from the very beginning and watch the whole thing again and get caught up and then watch the new season. And then when they come out with the next season, I'll do it again. I'll start off from season 1, episode 1, watch it all the way through. So I'm in the process of going through The Walking Dead. I'm on season 8 right now. Last week I started watching season 1, episode 1 because Netflix told me that they had a brand new season on there. So I'm trying to get caught up, and I haven't made it to the new content yet. But we're getting there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one, and I hope you're out there crushing it. The freight rates are great. If you are not getting a piece of this pie, then do something. Make a change. Because if you're out there busting your ass doing this job and you're not benefiting from this amazing freight market, then somebody is fucking you over. Somebody is making a lot of money out there. And if it's not you, then it's, whoever that it is you're working for. So I don't care if you're a company driver or if you're an owner-operator, if you have your own authority, if you're leased to somebody. If you're not out there making pretty damn good money right now, then you need to be looking at what other options are available to you, because they're just like throwing money at the freight market right now. And it's been like that for about a year. Like they've just been so much money to be had. If you're not out there scooping this shit up, then you need to reevaluate your situation and try to reposition yourself to where you can scoop this shit up. So don't let somebody else get rich off of your hard work. So anyway, best of luck to you. I hope you're out there crushing it. If you're not, then I hope you're getting into a position where you can. So good luck to you. Have a great weekend. And I don't know when I'm going to upload another video. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.